Hello there everyone and welcome back. While this is not going to be my true attempt going through rank play, we are rapidly climbing up through the ranks, I gotta say. With a little bit I played with the merchant fleet before diving into Imperial Navy, and I am interested in playing around with the, Seeker Missile variant of the battleships. Since I don't think in my entire playthrough, out of like maybe an occasional match against merchant fleet during the launch days, I don't think I ever seen any of the battleships ever utilize that, at least had the Seeker missiles on them, let alone a fleet kind of dedicated to this strategy. Although if I really wanted to commit to this fully, I could have very easily gotten, one of these, a fourth one, a fourth Borcon if I so wish, but hey, this is supposed to be a convoy, I like the theme of it, and truth be told, I like these cruisers just because of the potential of the extra speed they have, as well as the 83 armor for when absorbing damage is really important for me. Critical hits, that's a different story entirely, as I talked about plenty of times before, but if I'm worried about my health pool and just longevity, these things kind of have me covered. And hell, I do cut back a little bit of my fighter base. Hell, even in comparison to like the 6 Tau Protector cruiser fleet, or even just the 6 regular cruiser fleet of the merchant fleet, I'm just missing out on 2 fighter squadrons, but what I get with these battleships is I get 34, am I doing the math properly? Yeah, 24 and then an additional 10, so 34 missiles as opposed to 30 from the 6 cruisers. On top of the hit element, the 1 extra factor, I have 4 charges of these abilities. The fighter rays, the seeker missiles, because I'm using battleships, I have 4 charges of 2 of them. So that increases my longevity heavily, and hell, if I'm really good about or if I expect a close range engagement, these Seeker turrets are going to do amazing on the damage potential, almost single-handedly negating the lack of firepower I probably will have with these battleships. Never mind the fact that the frigates themselves, not only do they complement the point defense incredibly well, they also add a little bit of firepower as well. Since I'm trying to remember, this is about 3 damage a second, roughly. At least comparing it to the reload time, if I had to guess. And a firestorm, like, just for comparison's sake, what is it? A firestorm is like 4 damage a second when you consider lance. Maybe it's a bit higher now that it's been buffed. I'm just curious. So it's like... No, it's a little bit... Yeah, it's a little bit higher than that now. So maybe I'm completely wrong on what I was saying having comparable firepower, but hell, just the sheer amount of frigates we have gives it additional firepower to make up for the lack of damage that my battleships will have directly. So maybe I'm underestimating this fleet. Maybe I'm just underestimating this fleet. I'm all eager to just jump into this and try, hopefully, to figure out how to not get myself killed while utilizing these Seeker missiles, since it's a unique dynamic that I do look forward to playing with. Okay, Imperial Navy. Let's see about having ourselves some fun here. Although, if I remember correctly, Eustaz was, the 4 Retribution type of ships? And with no fighter bays, this might be a little bit unfair, at least early on. I just need to somehow keep vision on them for this to truly work out, I guess. That's going to be the big trick. If they have fighters, maybe they can weather the storm, but I feel like the Seeker missiles are kind of my main weapon anyway, to be fair. So, if they don't do damage, I'm probably going to lose straight up to their macro cannons, their ramming, and of course their torpedoes. And with objectives all being a thing too, that's going to be a bit of something I'm going to have to keep in mind. And hell, I have this messenger which I was using to kind of have dominance in the ordnance game. And we'll see. I don't think it's needed right now, unfortunately, but we'll see how this plays out. And I've been thinking about how I should do this formation. It's going to be a little bit irritating to try and manage effectively. Hell, do I even need lock-on? Reload might be better for the extra mobility. Is this... Well, there's a dang objective here. I might as well grab this. It's going to be a little bit annoying because I don't have a key. Yeah, it's not an easy way to just deploy them in the line of one unless I want them sideways. But I like this because it's an easy way to potentially deal with the secret missiles hitting myself. We'll see if that can stay that way, and if I can do it in a nice, easy manner. That's the important factor. If it's easy to keep this formation, then that'd be pretty good for me, but right off the bat, I think we're aware of possibly the 4 battleship fleet. And let's swap the angle here. Make sure everything contributes in this exchange. Since last time I faced off against Eustace, they did not have any frigates. So I think I got clearance to just bombard them with an overwhelming amount of firepower from these things. And the better I spot them, or the sooner I spot them, the better perhaps. Since there's no consequence really of them getting revealed. At least that's what it seems like.
At your orders, Koro.
I just gotta make sure I launch a bunch of fighters ahead of time for the seeker missiles. And also account for a speed difference too. Since what? These fighters are the only ones that can't keep pace with the torpedoes. Even with the arc that they go on.
We serve the Kovatra. For Anvar.
So they're gonna get oh. I forgot about that. Alright. So I guess I'm not gonna grab those immediately, I guess.
Drones have identified an enemy target.
The enemy has seized a strategic
I'm gonna dodge these torpedoes easily enough.
At your orders, Koro.
Now, I'm not quite gonna have fighters to join on this, so I gotta be cautious of that fact.
It will be so.
But I do have experimental railguns.
The ethereals guide us.
That was sadly out of range, it seems like, so that's a little unfortunate.
Aircraft ready for orders.
Then the only downside here is the brace for impact will probably shoot these down really well. And I did accidentally recall these fighters, so that's a bit of a shame.
Aircraft ready for orders.
But we'll see. Yep, the brace for impact just negated everything. This is why I need the fighters to kind of join in on this front.
Restore the Earthcast construction.
Let's try this again now. Now I have permission to turn the hell around.
Engaged. At your orders, Koro.
One thing to keep in mind, these things are pretty good at just running away. And hopefully the fighters do their thing. Gotta keep in mind the arc though. There, the fighters are doing their thing. Point defense are still getting their shots off though. So let's not get too excited just yet.
Gravitic drive engaged.
And of course I could still fire these missiles, but
Bombing run underway.
I don't... Let's see. You have repairs available.
Gravitic drive engaged.
Yeah, not the best arc, and a plasma bomb is going to hurt here. But I do have the repair drone to help in this regard. Sadly, all the fighters got shot down at a bad time, but can we get everything joined in here?
As the ethereals wish.
Because combustion gauge is going to come back up in a moment. And I would like the experimental railgun to hit this time. If possible. This is a bad shot. That was without a doubt a bad shot.
Aircraft ready for orders.
Closing on your position.
Alright, let's just get on through.
That cannot be done.
Sadly, one of these ships got hit. Oh yeah, both my engines got destroyed. Is that what happened there? Because I feel like these things should be a little bit closer if I gave them attack orders. It feels like anyway.
To spread the greater good. serve the Kovadra. As the ethereals wish.
Now, I don't have any way to... Ooh, I can just bomb this thing to death. And sadly, I have a bad angle for firing at this thing with my seeker missiles.
Aircast ready.
They are isolated, there's always that, but can I do the damage necessary? Because sadly, I burnt all
How may I serve the town?
my seeker missiles now at this point. So I'm relying a lot on my bombers now at this point.
At your orders, Corporal. For Anva it wins. Forever ready.
It is taking good damage at least, so...
On the way.
And with the flagship also crippled, that might be good. But this flagship... My flagship's about to die as well in a moment.
The ethereals has been lost. That cannot be done, Corporal.
Finish off this one ship, deal with the second one,
How may I serve the Tauba?
and be mindful.
As the ethereals wish. The ethereals guide us.
Now, can we deal with the flagship? That will help a little bit in this our issue here, but I have no more seeker missiles.
To spread the greater good.
The slow mobility is definitely being a bit of a burden here on top of the summary execution, but
Send to strategic points.
I can still grab objectives, but it's probably a little late for that now. I probably should have been trying to grab the objectives sooner,
For Anva,
if truth be told.
be so.
It's a little late to do that maneuver.
The ethereals has been lost. Chasla, triumph
Yeah.
for the Sen.
It was good getting the ship isolate there, but
Anva shall prosper.
learned my lesson there. And a lot of it does come down to wasting my first salvo when but it's a good demonstration of why having those fighters for screen is so damn important.
Orders.
Because right now I'm not going to get to kill this thing in time. And destroying the flagship's not going to help. I don't quite have the durability for this.
Warriors attack.
And even if I were to kill it, this is pretty much over here.
Restored command. Gravitic drive engaged.
How may I serve the Tauba?
In all seriousness, I probably... Well, first let's reactivate this ship. See if it has anything left to work with.
50% of strategic points.
And I lost my train of thought as a result of that too, alas. But you don't have anything of note. In all honesty... Oh, you're just dead, never mind. I just sacrificed that crew for nothing, alas.
Corel, ready.
So yeah, main thing is probably would have been just make sure, or at least have that discipline to wait for my fighters.
By my set,
And then
shall
that first seeker missile salvo could have done noteworthy damage.
One of ours.
Yeah, I kind of messed up on my hotkeys a little bit there. That's a bit of a shame.
Lights on all panels.
Oh well. It's a bit of an awkward angle as well for firing those seeker missiles, but the formation kind of worked there. As far as not hating myself. But I don't have the firepower, as I kind of hinted at before. Just straight up trying to do that headlong fight. Although, they also had a ridiculous amount of shields. That's another factor. So at the end of the day, I'm going to need to know when I need to have those frigates just grabbing points behind them. So that way, maybe just waiting through an objective game is possible. Since, yeah, there's a lot to really learn from there. The seeker missiles alone just got shot down from the point defense. But I think we already knew how important the fighters were, let's be honest. Alright, I guess we're gonna get our rematch here, so... We know what to kind of change a little bit. Just a tiny bit. Making sure those seeker missiles do damage necessary is a big deal, so... In all honesty, instead of having all the fighters go at one battleship, I should spread them all out. Because it seemed like they were shooting at the seeker missiles before... Yeah. At least one of the battleships was shooting at the seeker missiles, it seemed like, so... Possibly they were too far away, or the secret missiles caught up. And I don't need all these frigates together, at least for this type of matchup. Just have one or two. Maybe the messenger would be perfect, because it is actually a faster ship after all. Just use that to grab points where they start off at. Have one Orca just try and grab some points on my end, and then the rest are fire support. To an extent, which makes me wonder if I should just group them all together in that case. Since they're just going to die a horrible death if I just put them in front of my fleet after all. It might as well just... I did terrible with the experimental railguns too, but that's also the narrow nature. At least a little bit with the Imperial Navy. But let's see if we can improve on this. Although, let me group these two up, that make it a little bit better. And maybe this will give me a little bit extra firepower, although I never did prioritize their components, did I now? That might have been a big fault as well. Rushing into it a tiny bit. But at least I'm happy with the formation, it's just a matter of keeping it this way, and making sure that the cruisers are able to complement it the best. And I can, well, stasis bomb probably be important there, since once they're in close I die quickly. And do I really need experimental turrets? There's not really much better alternatives if I were serious though. Or a secret, yeah, it is secret turrets, right? I forget what the dang thing's called now.
How may I serve the tower?
So messenger, you're just gonna go eventually grab their points.
At your orders, Koro.
Just reveal them and get ready to engage.
We serve the Kovatra.
Oh, did I seriously not have you all grouped up? I saw I did.
The ethereals guide us.
Oh no, you weren't grouped up, stupid me. All sorts of things are going wrong here. I got no excuse for it aside for it being the end of the week. Alright. This time, let's actually prepare for this. Because hell, I could just boost and dodge these. But let's at least grab the objective to make this my life a little bit easier. Since I'm gonna grab this so quickly anyway, it's not a big issue. And then we'll work from there.
You have seized a strategic area.
Alright, so that's easily dealt with.
Corel, ready.
Gotta be careful not to ram myself. And I'm forgetting to prioritize again, am I?
Serve the Kovatra.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
So all of them are revealed, but two of them are hiding in gas clouds.
Orders, Koro.
Gravitic drive to maximum. How may I serve
Oh, did I
the
ram?
tower?
Well, that's unfortunate there. Or maybe you got hit by melted torpedoes. That might have been what happened there as well.
Honor the teachings of Viola.
At your orders, Koro.
Now, the tricky thing is to make sure these fighters do what's necessary.
Aircast ready for
Although I
orders.
don't quite have enough fighters anyway, so it's...
How may I serve the Tauba?
Experimental railgun, don't be a pain. That looks good.
Gravitic drive engaged.
Targeting sensors lock on.
Make sure arc's properly aligned,
Your tide's teachings guide our fire.
and now we'll just disengage
Amba, it will be so.
and try and recall these fighters. A decent amount of starting damage, but not all that exciting just yet.
Serve the Kovatra.
You have seized a strategic area.
Well, I did a terrible job paying attention to you, I guess.
Barracuda shoals launched.
Structural integrity compromised. How may I serve the tower?
As the ethereals wish.
Now, can I fire more of these missiles? Actually, I can. I just gotta get my arc set up properly. This is the one awkward thing with these ships, but now
Serve the Kovatra.
let's continue on.
At your orders, Colonel. Two-Tide's teachings guide our fire. Closing on your position.
So sadly, I kind of did myself a bit of a disservice, but I'm just realizing
The ethereals guide us.
this definitely would be a... Yeah, because all the fighters have been shot down.
Forever ready. Reporting losses amongst our escorts.
So unfortunately, that's not working out well. And all my fighters need
Patient hunter
are kind of in bad situation right now here.
To spread the greater
Yeah, this control is abysmal, I gotta say.
primary systems taking heavy.
Because the issue... come on.
Honor the teacher.
Experimental railgun, don't fail me already. Even though you're kind of already failing me, let's be honest. So, I think we're already in a bad position here, to an extent, but I'm doing a terrible job, it seems like, controlling this.
Aircast ready for orders.
The enemy has accumulated 20.
At least those missiles hit weaponry hit.
Gravitic drive engaged.
We're just not quite going to be able to do enough to get a killing blow just yet. Let alone one that matters, I suppose.
Honor the teachings of Yola.
Yeah, these things aren't really doing a lot of good.
How may I serve the Tauba?
And this is where my fleet's kind of at its worst, too.
Aircast ready for orders.
Just because of the awkward angle is going to be firing these seeker missiles.
The strategic area.
We serve the Kovatra.
Because right now, I can dodge these, although I'm going to hit myself.
Killing blow.
The one thing I wanted to avoid, but
At your orders, Colonel. Engaged.
yeah, sadly, just now I'm grabbing these objectives, so playing that route did not matter much either.
Ready for orders.
But it could, maybe.
Identified enemy targets.
You have seized
I doubt it at this point, though. Since all my frigates got destroyed by the convenience of the plasma bombs. It's the main thing to note here. Since I had like 6 of them,
Greater good.
now they're all pretty much dead due to me not paying attention.
Teams boarding enemy ship.
Alright, so let's grab the remaining points, I suppose.
Bell ready.
As the ethereals wish.
Not as exciting as this could be, I suppose. I'm just wondering how to get more effective vision faster in that case to get that early damage in.
How may I serve the Tauba?
Nope.
Teachings of field.
Because we got a mutiny here. Yeah, these ships are just gonna start dying on me now.
Forever ready.
But
Gravitic drive to maximum.
I am rapidly catching up on the score front, but
Alva shall
that doesn't mean much when we hardly killed any of their fleet. Let's be serious.
Serve the Kovatra.
The enemy has accumulated 50%.
So if I really wanted to make this uninteresting, I could spread out the battleships and just grab points behind them there. Since I do have that global presence after all,
to spread the greater
it just may not be the most interesting type of match, though, is the catch.
bombing run underway.
But it may be required when we're dealing with nothing but brute force, just punish them by their lack of mobility,
Bombing run underway.
and them turtling a death ball, essentially.
Store command.
Because imagine if these were the cruisers instead,
Has been
I would be
destroyed.
equal on their score right now. My cruiser would be on the opposite side of the
It
map.
will be so.
But yeah, terrible control too. Because I let one of my cruisers die for free, essentially.
Ship is now wreckage. Gravity drive engaged.
Eh, well.
Maneuvering thrusters engaged.
It definitely would be a lot more simpler if I stuck with, like, was it the carrier? Was it the dedicated carriers with the 4 fighter bays? That would make my life a lot easier there. Never mind the fact, again, that kind of critical mass.
Heavy damage.
Which does make me wonder if I should swap out one of them for at least the 4 fighter bays. Just so I have that hit point wall with a single battleship. And then maybe I can dedicate the other ones to bombers to get a little bit extra damage in. Because the damage isn't terrible. It's just not enough damage to catch when we finally get in close. And at least it allows for maybe this messenger to not be in this fleet. And I still managed to hit myself with some of these missiles too, when things do get chaotic. Okay, so now we're going back to Tau Protectorate again. Although I recognize this name, I just can't remember if that's true or not. Either way, it'll be interesting to see how their fleet is different compared to the 6 cruiser fleet. Since we kind of seen... Oh, just a moment there. For some reason, every time I try to hit enter to type, it did some weird visual thing to my game. I don't know if you noticed that or not. Otherwise, my flagship is now the dedicated carrier. And this should help a ton, at least that way not having to use multiple charges of fighters to kind of screen for me. The sheer critical mass of doubling the number of fighters in a single squadron is probably going to help a lot more. And I am interested to see, maybe at another time, to see if spraying up my fleet is kind of a good idea, although that involves me like just running away from my opponent to capture points, which doesn't sound exciting, but again, the one convenience these things have with the fighter base and secret missiles, I kind of have a global presence across the entire map. It's just going to be almost impossible to time out properly with the Barracuda screen to protect the secret missiles. That's the only real downside with trying to do it that way. But it would be amazing if I could pull it off though. Just imagine 3 explorers basically across the deployment zone here, all able to synchronize their secret missiles and bombers together. Although the only thing I don't like about this is the flagship should be in front to make it easier for me to just launch my fighters after all. Sadly, it gives me less missiles, which I should look into getting those 3 battleships again, or at least the 3 secret missile battleships. But it's like I said before, I want to try and make these capable of dealing with any type of fleet, and not just be able to just overwhelm certain ones. There's a nice balance that I enjoy there, with trying to focus on at least just having a good win rate over every faction ideally.
Aircast ready for orders.
It's just going to be more difficult than some, it goes without saying. Now, this definitely looks like a less experienced opponent with the... Well, it's possible that could be a crew war spear, but normally, the crew war spears have the ability to prioritize their weapons, even if they're immune to critical hits.
How may I serve the Tauva?
So I'm pretty certain these are just frigates that haven't concealed themselves.
The ethereal
I forget.
guide us.
Okay, I was wondering if I should have gone with the secret turrets or not, and I just left them on anyway. And I forgot my repair drones with that said.
Morel, ready.
I don't think that's going to be a huge issue though at least, but
How may I serve the Tau
let's
Bar?
be ready. So, oh, let's see. Alright, cruisers, we have no idea what kind of other ships they have though.
To spread the greater good.
And I can easily deal with their secret missiles, hell. The strategy should be the same as it was before, just weather the storm, quite frankly.
The ethereals guide us.
I have the fighters and the point defense to complement this, so I should be perfectly fine.
For Anvar.
Since if anything, we learned that my firepower is not very significant if I don't have the bombers or seeker missiles to kind of do the brunt of the damage.
Ready for orders.
I think that's kind of a given, with how little damage it seemed like I was doing to the battleships.
Core L ready.
And they are mostly cruisers, at least. They just look like they maybe decide to get extra.
You have seized a strategic area.
Seeker missiles are coming. I'm not too worried about that too much,
Barracuda shoals launched.
because I can dodge them incredibly well.
How may I serve?
I'm just doing a
Alpha?
terrible job. Grabbing objectives, I suppose.
Alpha shall prosper. We serve the Covatra.
Alright, with no fighters, I don't even think I need evasive maneuvers. I can almost shoot these before they do anything. We learned that with our last 2 matches how easily these seeker missiles can be shot down by themselves. In this case, it's only a single battleship that's actually shooting them. It's the main thing to note.
Aircraft ready for orders. Drones have identified an enemy target.
At your orders, Coral.
Calculating
Alright,
new
the bombers are going to be dead here in a moment.
We serve the
This
Covatra.
angle is terrible for my seeker missiles, though.
That cannot be done, Colonel. As the Ethereals wish.
But they're dealt with.
Aircraft
Yeah, that's kind of what I was afraid of, damn it. How easily this crumbles. Oh god.
spread the greater good.
How easily this formation crumbles when I'm forced to do maneuvers, alas.
Core L ready. The Ethereals guide us. How may I serve?
I thought I told you two to turn around. Maybe I'm miscontrolling again, but
Greater good.
it's not doing well for me.
Orders, Colonel.
The enemy
Maybe
has
I should
seized
go
a
back to the
strategic
fleet with
area.
that said. Although, that was all their seeker missiles, let's be honest, so I just need fighters. Which are currently out. Which are currently not anywhere. Yeah, they're currently out dealing with these bombers.
As the Ethereals wish.
How may I serve?
Yeah.
The patient hunter gets the prey.
Come on, don't do that to me.
Aircraft ready for orders. The patient
Alright,
hunter
flagship's
gets
taking a
the
big
prey.
beating, but let's not hit ourselves.
At your orders, Colonel.
Let's try not to do too much damage to myself. And this is a perfect... Damn it. Experimental railgun is going to be a terrible angle.
To spread the greater good. Bombing
The flagship is at least dead, though. Again, this is becoming more awkward than I realized with this formation. I'm going to have to rethink it.
ready for orders.
Is what I'm learning here to this episode. It crumbles way too easily if I'm not don't have it planned out ahead of time. And interestingly enough, the tower are all about planning their moves ahead of time. So I guess it's in character. It's just a shame I don't have my repair drone to help with this.
How may I serve the
But if you want to keep running, that's fine. Although again, doing a terrible job of my control management, am I now?
We serve the Covatra.
Although what is out of character is the fact that I'm trying to ram just because I have the excessive hit point pool after all.
At your orders,
Which isn't really how Tau want to fight, but it is a thing nonetheless.
Aircast ready for orders.
Yeah, my terrible has just been
Honor the
abysmal.
teachings of Viola.
I'm just overwhelming myself if I had to guess, and I'm not liking it one bit.
Accumulated 25% to strategic points.
But let's reveal these ships so we can continue with dealing with the rest of their fleet.
Position.
Since we dealt with half them with no real loss of our own ships.
Barracuda
And that's going to continue to happen
The
with these 4 squadrons of fighters basically just destroying any bombers that dare get in their way. I think this is still a victory just because we outlasted everything. I have an experimental railgun as well.
To spread the greater good. At your orders, Lord.
Now just finish off these ships and let's not screw this up. Like I have been so far.
Barracuda shows launched.
The patient hunter.
Okay, I think my frigate got hit there, sadly.
For Honda, it will be so.
This is definitely an awkward type of setup.
Reporting losses amongst our escorts.
My formation is not the right one, I want to say. I'm gonna have to rethink that for, especially if the Town Protector Fleet or Merchant Fleet ever gets selected for my focus. I am really gonna need to figure this out so I can at least get this fleet effective as possible. Because in all honesty, I don't want to play to dedicate a 6-cruiser fleet, at least as the Merchant Fleet. If I wanted to play a 6-cruiser fleet, I would do that as the Protectorate, since I like their ships a little bit more, design-wise.
Aircraft ready for orders.
Although,
Gravitic drive
even without
units
the
to
repair drone, even with
Gravitic
that all
drive
said,
engaged.
we're just outlasting them so damn well, despite my abysmal control.
The enemy has
Since
taken
my opponent decided to be the aggressor, and hell,
points.
even if this was the Borkon type of
50%
battleship,
strategic points.
I still would have handled that incredibly well. I don't know what to really say. This feels like it hasn't been my episode. And a lot of it probably does come down to the formation, since with what we've seen of the retributions, sure I do good damage, but once they're on top of me, I do eventually get run down some. Whereas the prospect of having these battleships spread out can be really damn potent. Just for more map presence, grabbing objectives. It just comes down to how the hell can I coordinate such a global like bomber and seeker missile type of squad to make sure not getting shot down for free. It's going to be the big problem, and something I'll have to figure out if Tau is going to be my next main focus, at least the merchant fleet.